Morning everyone, I hope you had a great week and been able to do loads of fun stuff. My name's Nick and this week I'll be reading the same story that the grown-ups will also be listening to. It's a story about Jesus sending out a lot of his disciples to tell people about God. There's another story in Matthew, as well as about Jesus sending even more people to do his work, just before he went back up to the heavens. The story is called The Great Commission, so perhaps your parents could help you learn about that as well at some point today. The activities I'll be telling you about after the story will be in St Peter's at Messy Church page as well, so be sure to check that out as well. Jesus sending out 72 followers. Jesus and his friends went from one place to the next telling people about God's kingdom. Even when he was asked to stay on, Jesus knew that he had to move on, so that the others would stay and would hear what he had to say. One day, he said to his disciples, "I want you to go off on your own to spread the good news to the other villages and towns. That way, I will hear it." So, he chose 72 more followers to do this. At first, they felt scared of going alone, but he said, "Don't worry, you'll be in a little group of 2. This was to make sure that they were safe and also they could do things using each other's skills that they had used between them. And he had said, "I will give you my power to be able to make people better and to drive out bad spirits from people." He sent them ahead into every town and place where he planned to go. This could have been about 35 towns or so, but we're not too sure. Before they had left, he said to them, "There is such a big harvest of people to bring in, but there are only a few workers to help harvest them. God owns the harvest. Ask him to send more workers to help bring in his harvest." Jesus used the idea of a harvest as this was something that everyone was involved in. It's about togetherness. We're coming up to harvest this time of country as well. "You can go now, but listen, I'm sending you, and you will be like sheep among wolves." This meant that they would meet some nice people, but also bad people along the way. He gave them instructions as well. Don't carry any money, a bag or extra sandals. Don't stop to talk to people on the road. Isn't that funny to say, don't take much at all? But when we go on a trip, we think to take loads of stuff, don't we? Also, before you go into a house, say, "Peace be with this home." If the people living there love peace, your blessings of peace will stay with them. If not, your blessing of peace will not come back with you. Stay in the peace-loving house. Eat and drink what the people give to you. A worker should be given his pay. Don't leave the house to stay in another house. If you go into a town and the people welcome you, eat the food they give you. Heal the sick and the people who live there, and tell them, God's kingdom is near with you. But if you go into a town and the people don't welcome you, don't go out into the streets of the town and say, "Even the dirt from your own town that sticks to our feet, we wipe off against you." But remember, that's God's kingdom as well, but it's coming soon. I tell you, on the judgment day, it'll be worse for the people of that town than for the people of Sodom. Sodom was a city where nobody listened to God and everybody thought that they could do what they liked, basically. No one cared about the rules. The disciples set off nervously on their tour, but when they came back, they were really pleased and excited about how well it went, and they had told Jesus about everything that had happened. Now, those friends of Jesus had to trust him, didn't they? That they would be okay to doing what he asked. He also kept his promises. Number 1, the disciples did a lot of walking, so imagine how smelly their feet would be. Not very nice at all, is it? If you have any Play-Doh with you, then see if you have enough to flatten it out as much as you can. Then take your socks off and try to make an imprint of your foot. This can remind you of how far they had walked and how far you would have to walk as well. How far do you think you would have to walk to tell people about Jesus? Or what you could do is take a piece of paper and get mum or dad to draw around your feet and then ask them to help you cut it out. Perhaps you can write the names of anyone you know who doesn't believe in Jesus, and you can pray for them to hopefully follow Jesus. Next, there is a copy of a Bible verse on the Messy Church page that you could ask your parents to print off as well. Then you can colour it in. It is about remembering that God is with you wherever you go, so no need to worry. If you looked on the church website, there is a picture that can be printed off as well as to be coloured. And lastly, there are also 2 links to the great songs about thanking God and asking him to help him have fun. There will also be 2 songs linked for your parents on the Messy Church webpage, so be sure to check them out. Thank you for listening.